best moment of TI so far? Just making it to the arena. It feels really good. We all have family and friends coming over as well, so it felt really good to qualify. It was not easy.
It's been a somewhat of a rocky tournament so far. You know, fixing problems and trying to improve over the course of it, but making stage is always a privilege and something that you definitely can take for granted if you're not careful. So I try not to appreciate whenever you get the chance, because it's pretty special.
Playing in front of a crowd is what I enjoy the most. I've played at quite a few tournaments now over the last few years, and it's like nothing compares to it. It's the most fun you can have. It's also the most stressful in the moment, because you know, okay, all eyes are on you. If you make a mistake, everyone will see it. But it gives a lot of energy, and it's really fun. Win or lose, it just makes it a lot more special.
The worst moment of the tournament, probably just the intermittent playing poorly. Playing poorly always sucks, losing sucks. So a combination of those two things tends to be the most annoying. A specific moment from the losing or sucking, I'm not exactly sure, but we've had our fair share of it this tournament so far, so just trying to reduce the quantity of that.
There were a lot of hard moments, to be honest. Every team faces a different challenge, and we didn't figure out the meta yet. We came really close to dropping to the lower bracket twice. So these moments are challenging for you mentally, because you know, like we were there last year, and we know like we can do it. We can make it to the finals for the lower bracket. We can go really far, but it's very, very draining. So we really, really didn't want to go there. And when you get that close, it definitely taxes you in that moment. So I'm very happy we pulled through.
How do we react to it when things go wrong? I mean, I think it depends whether it's in game or out of game. If it's, you know, if we're in a series and something goes wrong in a game, then you move on. You work with it, right? Like, things go wrong in games. That's inevitable. Nobody ever plays a perfect game of Dota. And so Dota is like a lot about moving on from mistakes and learning how to adapt and adjust and play the game differently as it changes and as you're ahead or behind or whatever, as strength levels deviate. So that is like one of the biggest skills in Dota, is getting good at adapting to that. So if you're in game, then it's just about, you know, making sure people don't feel too bad if they made some mistake, and you play on and you work with what you got, because at the end of the day, you're trying to win the tournament and you're all just working towards that.
Also, just keep trusting each other. You cannot try to micromanage. I've done that myself in the past, and like, that doesn't work. It's a team game. Everyone has to do their own part. So our next match, finally on stage, is against Tundra. Should be pretty fun. It's one of the weirder teams as well, honestly. You never know what's happening. Is it gonna be a Rubik mid, or is it Earth Spirit mid? You never know. You never know what to expect from Topson. So that's always pretty exciting.
Realistically, Topson is probably the best mid player of all time. No other mid player has 2 TI wins. He's maintained success over an extremely long period of time. A massive innovator of the game and changed the way people played at a lot of different points. I think he's, probably the best mid player ever. And so I think it's just cool to have him at tournaments and have him still be in the scene, and it's just fun to get to play against someone who has done so much for the game.
And I think it will be a good challenge for us. I know we can overcome them, but it will probably be the hardest series we've played so far.
This TI is actually relatively balanced in that I think a lot of teams can win more than I think normally can, just off of feel. So I think a lot of it just comes down to how people show up on the day of, how things develop as the tournament progresses, because I think over the next couple of series, it'll become more clear who the front runners are. But I think right now, after that first day on the stage, things could go a lot of different ways. So it's a bit hard to call right now.
I think we have a good shot at winning, because we are pretty fearless, I think. That's how people know our carry player, Derecho, and it definitely makes all of us play without fear. And you cannot be afraid to do your thing, and I hope it's good enough.
Can we win TI? Yeah, for sure. I sure hope so. Will we? Who knows? I think making top 3 is something that you always shoot for and is always sort of like the base goal. And then what happens on that final day, you never really know. Depends who wakes up, depends on how people play that day, how things shake up. There's not a lot of randomness, but there's some randomness to the last day. So at the end of the day, I think we just want to play as well as we can, and hopefully the dice fall in our favor.